Talk about the CX50 Mazda has coming that they're going to reveal in November next month at the LA Auto Show. Shares the same platform with the Mazda 3 sedan and hatch and the CX30. Now, it is a little bit bigger than those vehicles, so you don't have to fear about leg room or headroom in the vehicle. And so far, we've had some patents that have appeared on the internet, which I have a couple of those pictures for you so you can see. And then there's also the pictures that we're seeing all over the web right now of what this car possibly may look like. Now, with the patent and the pictures, they look very similar. So it's a good sign that that's probably what the car is going to look like. In my eyes, it looks like a slightly bigger CX5. And then, which I believe will replace the CX5 for 2023, because the CX50 won't be released until late of 2022 as a 2023. So they'll probably come out in the fall next year, which will be an exciting time for Mazda, an all new SUV for them to their lineup. And then they got two more coming, which is the Cx50 and Cx90. Hopefully they'll be willing to reveal those cars next fall, so we would have an idea of what they look like with Mazda's new Skyactiv Inline 6 for the US market and rear-wheel drive platforms. This is going to be an exciting time because we're going to see Mazda targeting the premium side of the market, and we're going to see how they fare or compare their products to the BMWs, the Acura, the Infinitis, the Cadillacs, and Lincolns, and Mercedes. We're going to see, how Mazda does against these brands. Now, from a price standpoint, I don't see them pricing themselves out of the market. I think they've been real smart about what they're doing, and chances are those cars will still be not as priced as expensive as the luxury premium side of the market. They'll still probably a little less expensive, which means they plan on persuading a lot of people from that side of the market to come buy a Mazda. Now, if you haven't bought a Mazda before, you need to get out there and try one. I suggest buying one. Right now, it's the hottest brand in the industry. And so it's a good time to have a Mazda. It's a good time to be working for Mazda if you work for Mazda. And it's an exciting time in the industry because you know what? We have new technology and engineering that is hitting the market. Now, Mazda came out with the Skyactiv technology back in 2012. They released it in the Mazda 3. And from there, they have not looked back. Now, this engineering is something else in itself. A lot of brands took different paths to try to get you better fuel economy and lower the emissions for the governments to help with global warming. Mazda decided, let's try to fix what's actually broken. Which was the combustible engine. So when they went and decided they were going to work on this, they went all in. And it paid off, as we can see today where they're headed. So now you have an inline 6 Skyactiv X engine that's coming. They have a dual charge engine that's coming, so which means turbocharge and a supercharger for a performance side. And it'll probably have an outstanding fuel economy for the power and stuff that it's going to deliver on that level. It's a shame that after all the hard work, 6 or 7 long years for Mazda to get their Skyactiv diesel here in the United States, that they pulled it after 1 year. They only put it in one car, which was the Mazda CX-5, and they only put it in one trim level, which was their signature, the top of the line trim. I believe it did not do well here as far as in sales because it should have been put in the middle of the line trim, which I believe should have been the Grand Touring CX-5, which would have made it a little bit more affordable and possibly put a lease program on it. Now, I personally have owned the Skyactiv diesel that Mazda had produced and brought over here. It's a wonderful engine. Again, for a combustible engine, delivered great fuel economy, especially if you're just doing a lot of highway driving. This thing is amazing. It is sad to know that they put all this work into this, even joint partnerships with the United States government to get this engine into the United States, and get this invention to work, and then it works and then they killed it off. So very disappointing, but elsewhere on the global market, this engine is still available. So I know people are saying, you know, it's sad Americans aren't into diesel. I disagree. I think there's plenty of Americans here that will take a diesel any day of the week, but it has to also be affordable. So hopefully, maybe, I don't know if it makes any sense for Mazda to try to bring it back, being after they put all the work in to get it here in the first place. But I would have never killed it off. I think I would have took a different path to provide that engine in a different vehicle, or have it availability in a different vehicle and made it a little bit more affordable. But for what they have coming engineering wise, it should have an impact in the industry. Everything they've done so far has had an impact in the industry, and more brands are now looking at different paths to take. Even with the electric cars that are coming, Mazda has taken slight different paths for an electrified platform. So we need to see what their engineers are willing to put out there. Are they going to get themselves to the next level? And are their footprints that they're leaving are going to be big enough that the rest of the industry will be willing to follow? So again, exciting time for Mazda. Get yourself a Mazda. Go visit a Mazda dealership today. And for those who can't wait, in I'm going to say maybe 4 weeks from now, we're going to finally get to see this car be revealed. It'll be the first time Mazda's revealing a car in quite some time. They had decided they were going to hold back some of the future cars until this time period. And so now we're going to see what they've been working on that's coming. So check out the pictures of the patent. So before heading to the dealership, do your research online. Make sure they have the product in stock that you're interested in. Call ahead, check the dealer's website, get a VIN or stock number, call them, schedule an appointment for a test drive. Make sure the vehicle is what exactly it is that you're looking for. Now, being that there's such less inventory available, you may not be able to get the colors that you want. And you may not get some features depending on what type of vehicle you're interested in. Or you may end up happen to settle for something a little bit more expensive that has more features in it because they may not have the vehicle that you're looking for in stock. Now, buying a car has gotten quite easy, and you can buy out of state if need be, if you're looking or searching for a particular car. If you really have your heart set on the color or certain features, don't mind exploring. Do up to a 500-mile radius. Figure out a way how you can have the vehicle, whether you're going to fly to that state or drive to that state if you have a trade-in, or can the dealer provide shipping or be willing to deliver the car. These things exist, and they have been around for a while, but not everybody is keen on buying online or over the phone. But they are available if you are interested in a particular car. Now, as a sales associate, I always want my clients to have exactly what they're looking for. And if I can provide it for them, I would go above and beyond for them. This is important to me, that the client is satisfied. Now, have I always been able to satisfy every single client every single time? No, that's science fiction. That's not reality. But for the most part, 97%, I've always delivered what I promised to my clients. So it's important that before heading out to shop, you don't necessarily have to call dealerships either to get pricing. Pricing is the last thing on the table, and they only get into that when you are going there to take that car home. Make sure that the car has the features you're looking for, that it has the color that you're looking for, that you have a VIN to verify that this car exists, that somebody's just not telling you that the car exists. Because a lot of times when you call into a dealership, They have what they call a internet or phone response team that answers the phone and answer emails for the dealer. A lot of times these folks are sitting at a desk, and the way they will confirm whether a car is physically there is by actually looking it up in the dealership's inventory in the computer, not physically going out to touch the car. So you want to make sure that the vehicle is really there. So make sure you get a VIN or a stock number. Leave a deposit, because just like you're out searching for a car, there are many other Americans out there searching for a car, and they may be looking for the same thing that you're looking for. So make sure you ask, can I leave a deposit? Ask to see if the dealer's deposits are refundable or not. Or can the deposit be added onto the vehicle, meaning to reduce the price of the car, depending on how you're purchasing or leasing the vehicle. As if money down. In other words, if you're putting money down and they say, okay, leave us a $500 deposit, and give them $500, the $500 is now less of what you're going to give them when you complete and close the deal. So I'm all for people having a wonderful and an exciting time when you go to the dealership, having a great experience. This is super important. It's a large purchase. We don't do this every day, right? You buy a car every 3 or 5 or 10 years. That's just the reality of it, not unless you get into a collision or something. But you're not buying cars every day. And it should mean something to you. We spend a lot of time in our automobiles, commuting. We also take them very personally. We personalize our vehicles. So, we spend more time in our cars than we do at home. So if you're going to get a car, make sure it's safe. Check out the ratings and see how it stacks up. Just don't go, single-minded going after one particular car. See how it stacks up against the competitors. Make sure that the car is safe. Now, I'm not saying that anyone builds an unsafe car today, because most of the manufacturers build really good cars. But they're not all equal. And they have never always been equal. They all compete with each other, but they're not equal. And a lot of times the guys who are there to sell magazines and these journalists that write articles on cars, they have a tendency to favor those brands that might even sponsor their paper or their magazine or their news channel. So just keep in mind, sometimes you have to physically go and get in these cars. Sometimes you may not fit in the car. Some people are tall, some people are wide, some people are short. They may not be able to see over the dashboard over the hood, if the hood is really long. So, it requires some work. So set some time aside to go to the dealership so you know what your expectations are. But if you get a lot of the legwork done ahead of time, you don't have to spend as much time at the dealer. Your experience will be 10 times better up front right away. You'll notice that the sales associate will also have more time to spend with you and go over the features with you. Don't let them cheat you out of that experience. Knowing how to use your car is super important. So I get it, after a long day of being at the dealership, if you're one of those who happen to be stuck there for hours at a time, a lot of times we just want to get in our cars and get the hell out of there. But allow the sales associate the time to go over the car and show you how to use it. This is important, because I've had clients trade cars in, and they wasn't aware that they had certain features in their car. And here I am, I didn't even sell them that car. It's a complete different brand. And then I'm going over the car as I'm doing a trade appraisal, and I'm like, oh, wow, your car has this, your car has that. And they're like, oh, wow, I didn't even know I had that. My last salesperson didn't show me how to use it. And if you don't have the time to stay there and let them show you, reschedule, come back another day, to have them go over the car with you. Trust me, you'll be a lot more happier. You'll know what you paid for. You're paying for these features. You deserve to know how to use your vehicle. Do not be shy to ask questions. Ask a lot of questions. It's worth it. Some salespeople might find that annoying, but regardless, at the end of the day, it's your experience. You're paying a lot of money. You deserve to have your questions answered, and you deserve to know how to use your car. So with this chip shortage and with everything that's happening, I know it's heartbreaking and disappointing for a lot of people. We hope that this is not going to go on for a really long time. But unfortunately, it looks like as reports are coming out slowly but surely, we're looking at a couple of years of possibly being under this duress of being able to buy a car. Now, if a new car isn't going to cut it for you, used cars are there. And there's a lot of different sources to getting a used car nowadays. It's not just the dealerships anymore. You have other large corporations nationwide that bought up a lot of pre-owned cars. And they got ads out there now that just trying to buy cars. They're getting prepared for what's to come. So don't be so undecided. If you know that you need a car and pricing isn't where you need to be, just try to make the best possible decision you need to make, but make it quickly and soon. The reason why is because when they do run out of cars, it's going to be grueling to get anything that you want. Because then the next step is Americans are going to shift from not being able to get a new car to then looking for pre-owned. And pre-owns, they're a dime a dozen, right? But they're also unique. There's one of them. You know what I'm saying? There's not like the new cars where it's just multiple colors, but the same car available. With a pre-owned, that's not exactly the case. So when seeking for the car, make sure that you do your research ahead of time. Don't be afraid to venture outside your state. Some states may have better programs or better deals anyway. Some states aren't. But if you're not asking and you're not seeking, you're never going to receive. Some dealerships will go out of their way. They will deliver. They will ship the cars. Obviously, that'll be negotiated into the deal if it's about shipping. But if they have to deliver the car, they may not have no charge for that. And they'll bring it right to your household. So just keep in mind, we're in the 21st century. Things are a little bit different about buying cars today. And it's a little bit easier. It's not as stressful as it has to be. My job, first of all, when you would come and sit with me, was first to help you relieve that tension and that stress. I wanted you to be comfortable. So when I say rolling out the red carpet, demand it. Make sure you're being treated with dignity and respect. Make sure your salesperson is knowledgeable, that they know the product. And if they're not, request somebody else. If the dealership in whole isn't professional, don't do business there. Seek the same brand but at a different dealer. This is why the manufacturers have multiple of their cars and different dealers, because they're not all equal. Some dealers have outstanding reviews. Their service might be awesome. And if a dealer is charging a little bit more than other, again, don't worry about price as much. At the end of the day, it's the convenience of what you're getting, the level of service. And make sure you absolutely build a rapport. Just don't buy the car and disappear. Make sure you stay in touch, because when the time comes when you need that favor, you have a guy. Like everybody like to say, I have a guy. So make sure you have a guy. Build a rapport. Don't go there with the defenses up. You can easily have the best time purchasing. Just focus on getting the information you need before you head to the dealer. And it'll all work out.